So, this past Friday, The Weeknd dropped Dawn FM, which is pretty much a homage to 80s music, similar to another album that we've heard last year. What's your thoughts on it? How'd you feel about it?
I really liked it until I realized he was talking about dying.
That's nuts that you didn't.
Hey, man, listen. I don't know. I listened to it the first time in the car on my way to a birthday party. And then I listened to it again this morning as you were coming in. And yeah, you mentioned that. And then I went back and I actually listened to the commercials. And I was like, oh, okay. So immediately, the songs that I thought were like very happy and upbeat immediately went to like, is The Weeknd okay? Like, How Do I Make You Love Me? Take My Breath. I still fuck with the songs. The songs are very good.
Yes.
Very good. I think it just kind of all plays into the concept, which kudos to sticking to having a solid theme that's distinguishable. You know what I'm saying? And sticking with it the whole way through the album. Like it sounds very simple, but it's not something that guys do. Much more consistent of a flow than Tory's 80s album for sure.
Okay.
Like with no question. Gasoline, How Do I Make You Love Me? Take My Breath, Sacrifice. Best Friends is dope. I liked Here We Go with Tyler. I think I've moved to another level of expectation for Tyler when I get a Tyler verse. He's done it to himself though. You know, Call Me If You Get Lost and Igor. Now I'm expecting heat every time I hear you. So, and not to say it was a bad verse. It was just kind of okay. It was okay. It was just kind of there for me. Is There Someone Else? I didn't really like Starry Eyes or Every Angel Is Terrifying. I Heard You Were Married with Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne had a heater.
What is this run of great?
I don't know, man. He had a heater on this one. No, that bitch was hard. No, Out of Time. I'm sorry. Out of Time. Out of Time is
Out of Time is probably the best.
Yeah,
song
Out of Time is the best song on there. But that was a dope ass song overall. But the Wayne verse was kind of took it over the top for sure.
For sure. And I know we talked about it before. You didn't like Less Than Zero.
No, I hated that song.
Oh.
I hated that song. It was the most poppy thing on the album.
It was.
And I felt like it didn't fit.
I liked it a lot.
He did all his upbeat rock ballad, movie montage songs in the beginning. And then in the meat of it was very much R&B. And then he sent us home with a fucking interlude from Jim Carrey. Like, where the fuck? Where the hell? The only... you know what? And the way that I'll let you break it down and kind of explain it. But another actor who came to mind, who you probably could have inserted speech here, especially now that I'm actually seeing Dawn FM for what it is, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
But how do you make that happen?
I mean, you would just find you would probably have to find just like a random clip of him talking about something like that.
Well, yeah.
Because as much as I love Jim Carrey spitting bars, I just couldn't. I don't know. I didn't follow it. I didn't know what the hell he's talking about. But it sounded beautiful.
I think it kind of does the same thing. Robin Williams clip. However, first of all, I'm almost certain Jim Carrey probably wrote that.
That's hard. That's hard.
It just seems like something Jim Carrey would do, that you wouldn't know that Jim Carrey writes fucking poetry.
I could just imagine how you even make that phone call. Like, yeah, so yeah, we need Jim in the booth today. Oh, Jim. All right, yeah. Yo, call up Jones. No. Jimmy. Nigga, Jim Carrey. But we don't shoot the video until next month. We need to actually finish the song. No, put Jim Carrey on the track.
First of all,
like, what?
I would not be surprised whatsoever if The Weeknd and Jim Carrey are friends. Not best friends.
Yeah, I mean, they're at least acquaintances, Hollywood starlets and whatnot, It seems like the crowd that The Weeknd would run with.
I can see him hanging out with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Second of all, he was the voice of the radio host throughout the thing. So I would just assume that
was Jim Carrey the whole time? Like every time the radio commercials came up, that was Jim Carrey?
Well, no, there was. Well, obviously the one interlude is Quincy Jones,
Right.
and then there was the commercial that I still can't remember what song it was after, but they were talking about. They were basically pitching the afterlife.
So the one on the
I
end
don't
of
think
Out
that
of
was
Time,
him.
that was Jim Carrey. I'm gonna have to listen to that again.
Anything that was the actual radio host was Jim Carrey,
That's dope.
which is nuts that he has a very eerie, creepy, but also radio-esque voice.
But you know what? You know what I didn't take into account when we talking about Jim Carrey showing up on his album? The Weeknd he's literally trying to be an actor. He's been trying to be an actor for some years now. We just haven't been listening to him. All right? Like, here we go. Another album cover where his face is all these goddamn prosthetics. Like, he clearly wants to start acting. So, why not give one of Hollywood's favorites?
Well, not only that, have you seen his Halloween costumes? They're amazing.
Yeah.
Every single time. They're amazing. Like when he was
The Weeknd
Joker,
definitely wants to act. Y'all just got to give him a chance.
I can see that. Well, he acts every time he drops an album now.
Hashtag cast the Weeknd.
He becomes a character every time he drops an album.
So that we can stop seeing him dress up on his album covers.
I don't know.
Is he ever going to be the Weeknd? Like just regular Weeknd, like how he looks now. I could probably pass the Weeknd right now. He doesn't have dreads no more, so that wouldn't give it away. Maybe if it was just his face, he had his like hood up or something like that, I'd probably walk right past him.
Probably. I think when he gets into character, though, it helps immerse for the album.
No, it definitely helped here. Whatever he was going for, he hit it. For sure.
Yeah. I'm shocked that you didn't pick up on the whole death thing just because I almost couldn't listen to it for the first time because it was just so much death in Afterlife. Like when I heard it, at least. Like, it was kind of hard to get through the first time, but then when I powered through the second time, I was like, oh, wait.
I guess I just wasn't really paying attention to what they were saying the first go round. Like I was just kind of listening to the songs. When I heard Take My Breath, I thought he was talking about a woman. I thought he was talking about a woman taking his breath away. Well, not like actually take my breath. No. I don't believe. I believe that's probably at a surface level maybe, but on the deeper metaphysical, he talking about take my breath. It's along with the whole theme of.
It's just like I can't feel my face is about drugs.
Sure.
This could be both about a woman and death at the same time.
It's very dark. Someone put their arm around him.
No, it's extremely dark, which is, again, I'm surprised you didn't pick up on that.
No, I didn't.
But you had mentioned that this album obviously is 80s pop, 80s music throughout, similar to the Tory Lanez album. And we reviewed the Tory Lanez album, so check that out if you haven't seen it. I will say one thing, that while everything that I said in that review still stands for the most part, except the rating that I gave it a 4. After listening to it a couple more times, I give it a little bit higher than what I did before.
What's a little bit higher?
5.5, 6.
That's not even worth mentioning. A 6 is worth mentioning. That's above average. So that doesn't check, because going from a 4 to a 6 means you've completely changed how you feel about the album. You went from slightly under average to slightly above average, which is a huge difference.
Well, when I said what I said in the review, that none of the songs stuck with me at the time, they didn't. But now listening to it a couple more times.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Some of those songs actually
it's soaked in.
Yeah.
You've had a chance to revisit it a couple times probably.
Yeah.
But that's a big difference. That's not a slight difference. That's a big difference.
It became better to me. Now, is it amazing? No. But it at least it's better to me.
I can't say that I've revisited the Tory album since it dropped, so maybe I have to revisit. But this was even on first play, the reception was much better to this than it was to the other album.
So The Weeknd is the de facto king of 80s music, retro 80s music. And Tory, not that guy.
Sure. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Okay. Because I can't give like Bruno Mars or any of them, because they do even further out, like it's almost like 70s music.
It's soul. Yeah. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak and them. That's soul.
But if you had to give a king of the retro 80s style,
Weeknd.
Okay.
I don't like all of it, but I did like this.
Got it. Any other thoughts on Dawn FM? Any other thoughts on Alone at Prom? Any other thoughts on any of those albums?
Very solid project, man. If someone sees the Weeknd, give him a hug. You know, it's for real, because
he's been telling us that he's been battling with potentially selling his soul, death, drug issues.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna play this no more.
No, not just on this album. I mean, he's been doing that for
nasty.
He's been doing that for like 4 albums straight.
That he's been struggling with selling his soul. Why haven't I heard any? Stop playing the Weeknd, man.
The context is selling his soul, drugs, drug abuse, addiction, and death. That's been like the underlining thing to like his last 4 albums.
Remember all last week we was talking about men's mental health and protecting them and keeping them up.
Yeah.
Send all the positive energy you got freed up to the Weeknd.
For sure.
Give it to him.
But it makes for really compelling,
really good music. Yeah. It always does. People's worst experiences and misery, for some reason, is like food to us. Whether that's comedy, whether that's music, whether it's, an athlete coming back from a big injury or something like that. Like, we just eat
a person
misery.
Being vulnerable is like the easiest way to connect with somebody. So when they're being extremely vulnerable to this level, it's really easy to.
Is it the access to that vulnerability, or is it the vulnerability themselves? Because that's the difference between symbiosis and being a predator at that point, to me. Like, if you think about it, like, is it the fact that you've opened up the access to your feelings that's connective, or is it the actual vulnerability that I'm devouring from you? Is it the fact that your pain is what I enjoy the most? Because people can be vulnerable about bullshit and not really, and it not really go.
I think it's the level of vulnerability, right? Like, I take a look at what Drake is typically vulnerable about, and it doesn't.
But think about it, though. Well. Vulnerability doesn't have to be inherently bad. True. Vulnerability doesn't mean you have to tell me that you're struggling with selling your soul. Vulnerability can be you giving me insight into a relationship that you hold dear. You can be telling me about your greatest love. That's vulnerability as well. But we seem to think or at least be attracted to the negative vulnerability. We want to see flaws. We want to see scars. We want to see hurt. We want to see misery. There's a whole lot more that's vulnerable that's not that. So it's like, what is it that we really are attracted to? Is it the vulnerability, or is it the misery?
I don't know that it's the misery, though, because I mean, there is.
I'm gonna give you the polar opposite. I swear to God, it's Chance. Chance is very vulnerable about his love for his wife, but it is nowhere near received the same way as this.
Ooh, that's a good example.
It's Chance, really bro. Example. Chance is the polar opposite of this. He's very vulnerable about his love for his wife. No one cares, though. It's sad to say that, but no one cares. You know what they care about? I think I'm about to fucking OD.
That is a really good example. And I'm trying to rack my brain, trying to think of another example of somebody being vulnerable.
That shit is deep. This was a great album. This is a great album because it hasn't been too many albums that made me sit here and do some shit like this. So
I like the conversation.
Yep.
Definitely like the conversation. Any other thoughts?
What do you guys think? Give us your thoughts in the comments below.
And make sure you check out our playlist for album releases. I like to talk about every big album release. So make sure you check that playlist and make sure you subscribe for more.